Part 5, From the Excellence of Contentment to the Evils of a Murmuring Spirit. So, my friends, why is contentment excellent? It frees you from the world's chains, steadies you with unshakable peace, fills you with spiritual riches, and lifts you to glorify God. In your world, deadlines choking, screens taunting, dreams fading, it's a crown worth wearing. Job lost? You're free. Bills mount? You're at peace. Alone? You're rich in Him. That's the treasure Christ hands you, polished by His teaching. As this fire roars, let it burn in you. Contentment's excellence is yours, wear it like Henry, Ruth, Simon, Mary, Sarah, John. Next time life kicks, boss snarls, feed scrolls, heart sinks, hold it tight. Say, Lord, let me shine with this. Thank you for sitting by this hearth with me, Jeremiah Burroughs. We basked in contentment's glow, felt its worth, but now, we're turning a corner. There's a shadow lurking, a thief that steals this jewel if we let it. So, don't step away yet, because we're diving into something stark and sobering, the evils of a murmuring spirit. This is where the story gets raw. It's a warning, a wake-up call, and I promise, you'll want to hear it. Ready to stoke the fire and face this together? Let's plunge in. Hello again, my dear friends. We're still here, huddled in this warm room, the fire crackling fiercely now, its flames casting long, restless shadows across the floor. The wind outside howls like a restless beast, rattling the windows, and I, Jeremiah Burroughs, or the voice of that old pastor echoing through time, am back to guide you deeper into my book, the rare jewel of Christian contentment. We've walked a golden path so far, we've tasted contentment's sweet peace, unraveled its mystery, learned from Christ's steady hand, and marveled at its excellence. It's a jewel that crowns your soul, bright, beautiful, worth every ounce of your heart. But today, we're stepping into a darker wood. We're entering part 2, murmuring, and specifically, the evils of a murmuring spirit. This isn't a gentle tale, it's a storm brewing, a cautionary song about a poison that creeps in and chokes the life from that precious contentment. I've got stories to tell, tales of hearts turned sour, lives dimmed by grumbling, and truths that'll shake you awake. So, settle in close, let the fire's heat brace you. I'm taking you on a journey that'll grip your soul and maybe even save it. Here we go. What's a murmuring spirit? It's that restless whisper in your chest, that bitter mutter under your breath when life doesn't go your way. It's the grumble that says, I deserve better, the groan that asks, why me? It's not just complaining, it's a cancer of the soul, eating away at peace, gnawing at faith, spitting in the face of God's goodness. The world calls it natural. Who doesn't gripe when things go wrong? But I call it evil, a thief in the night that robs you blind. Let me show you why it's so dangerous, with stories that'll chill you and truths that'll burn. First, a murmuring spirit is evil because it blinds you to God's gifts. When you grumble, you don't just miss the good, you trample it. It's like a man starving at a banquet, too busy cursing the crumbs to see the feast. I knew a farmer named William in my parish, a sturdy man with fields that stretched wide. One summer, drought shriveled his crops, half his harvest gone. I met him at the market, expecting resolve, but his face was thunder. Pastor, he spat, God's cheated me, years of sweat, and this? I'm done. He kicked the dirt, his voice a growl, blind to the half he still had, the sun still rising, the family still fed. I tried to speak, but he stormed off, grumbling trailing him like smoke. That's the evil, it shuts your eyes, turns blessings into burdens, leaves you poorer than you are. Let me tell you another tale, darker still. There was a merchant's wife named Eleanor in my town, sharp-tongued, quick with a complaint. Her husband prospered, their home stuffed with finery, silks, silver, a table groaning with food. But a rival's rumor cost them a big sale, and Eleanor's world tilted. I visited, hoping to comfort, but she met me at the door, venom dripping. Pastor, why us? We're better than this. God's turned his back. Her hands waved at a house still grand, a pantry still full, but all she saw was the loss. She grumbled through days, weeks, her voice a storm that drove her husband to silence, her children to tears. That's the evil of murmuring. It doesn't just blind you, it poisons the air, dims every light God leaves. Next, a murmuring spirit is evil because it rebels against God. It's not just whining, it's shaking your fist at the one who holds you. Every grumble says, I know better, you failed me. It's the Israelites in the desert all over again, freed from slavery, fed with manna, yet wailing, we had it better in Egypt. God's patience bore them, but their hearts grew hard. Murmuring isn't weakness, it's war, a defiance that cuts deeper than you think. I saw this in a sailor named Thomas, not the farmer, but a sea-hardened man from my coast. He'd survived wrecks, hauled fish through gales, but one season, the catch dwindled, nets barely wriggling. I found him at the dock, his boat idle, his face a mask of rage. Pastor, he snarled, I've served God, prayed, tithed, and he gives me this? He's a liar. His fist slammed the hull, his curses rising like waves. I shuddered. Here was a man not just grumbling, but battling God, spitting on the hand that kept him afloat. That's the evil. It's not a sigh, it's a sword, aimed at the heart of grace. Here's another wound it cuts. A murmuring spirit is evil because it spreads misery. It's contagious, a plague that leaps from soul to soul, souring everything it touches. One grumbler can darken a room, a home, a whole village. It's like a rotten apple spoiling the barrel. Leave it unchecked, and the stench takes over. Think of Jonah running from God, grumbling on that ship, and soon the crew's trembling, the seas raging, all dragged into his storm. Let me paint you a picture with Alice, a baker's daughter in my flock. Her father's shop thrived, bread flying off shelves, but a rival opened nearby, stealing trade. Alice could have shrugged, plenty of customers stayed, but she didn't. Pastor, she hissed, it's not fair. Why do they win? Her complaints rolled out daily, sharp as thorns, till her father snapped, her mother wept, the shop's warmth turned cold. I watched customers drift away, not from the bread, but the bitterness. That's the evil. Murmuring doesn't just rot you, it ruins all you love. Now, let's step into your world, because I know murmuring's alive and howling there too. Your days are a gauntlet. Jobs vanish, bills tower, screens flaunt what you don't have. Maybe you've muttered under your breath, why's my boss a jerk? Why's my feed full of winners while I'm stuck? I've heard your kind grumbling at traffic, at rent, at a life that won't bend. It feels small, harmless, right? But it's a snake, coiling tight. Lose a gig? You growl, God's forgotten me, blind to the air in your lungs. Scroll past a friend's vacation? You mutter, I deserve that, missing the roof over your head. That's the evil. It's not just noise, it's a noose, strangling contentment's glow. Take Michael, a man from your time, a mechanic I heard tell of. He fixed cars, steady work, till a shop closed, leaving him jobless. His tools gathered dust, his savings shrank, and I met him at a cafe, expecting grit. But his jaw was tight, his words acid. Pastor, he said, I've busted my hands for years. Where's God now? Life's a cheat. He glared at his coffee, cold now, blind to the friend buying it, the sun still shining. His grumbling spread, his wife tensed, his kids hid, and misery took root. That's the evil. It doesn't just steal your peace, it sows sorrow wherever you walk. One more tale, because the shadow's deep. There was a widow named Agnes in my parish, old, bent, her pension a pittance. A storm flooded her cottage, soaking her few things, and I braced for tears when I arrived. But her voice was a whip. Pastor, God's cruel, takes my husband, now this? I'll curse him till I die. Her grumbling wasn't quiet, it roared, a fire that burned her neighbor's kindness, left her alone in that damp wreck. That's the evil. It doesn't just rebel, it isolates, turns you into a storm no one can weather. So why's a murmuring spirit evil? It blinds you to God's gifts, rebels against His will, spreads misery like a plague. It's the opposite of contentment's excellence: a thief, a liar, a destroyer. In your world, bosses barking, screens glaring, hope thinning, it's a trap snapping shut. Job gone? Don't grumble, see the chance to breathe. Bills stack? Don't curse, count the day you're given. That's the fight. Contentment lifts, murmuring crushes. As this fire crackles, let it warn you. The evils of a murmuring spirit are real. William's fields, Eleanor's silks, Thomas's nets, Alice's bread, Michael's tools, Agnes's flood. Show it. Next time it whispers, why me? Stomp it out. Say, Lord, open my eyes. Thank you for braving this with me, Jeremiah Burroughs, by this restless hearth. More's coming, will you stay? I hope so. Part 6, From the Evils of a Murmuring Spirit to Aggravations of Murmuring. So why's a murmuring spirit evil? It blinds you to God's gifts, rebels against His will, spreads misery like a plague. It's the opposite of contentment's excellence: a thief, a liar, a destroyer. In your world, bosses barking, screens glaring, hope thinning, it's a trap snapping shut. Job gone? Don't grumble, see the chance to breathe. Bills stack? Don't curse, count the day you're given. That's the fight. Contentment lifts, murmuring crushes. As this fire crackles, let it warn you. The evils of a murmuring spirit are real. William's fields, Eleanor's silks, Thomas's nets, Alice's bread, Michael's tools, Agnes's flood. Show it. Next time it whispers, why me? Stomp it out. Say, Lord, open my eyes. Thank you for braving this with me, Jeremiah Burroughs, by this restless hearth. But don't turn away yet, friends, because we're not done digging into this darkness. The story's about to twist deeper. There's more to murmuring than its evils. There's a weight that makes it worse, a shadow that grows uglier the longer it lingers. So, stoke the fire and brace yourselves. We're stepping into aggravations of murmuring. This is where the stakes rise, where you'll see why grumbling isn't just bad, it's a burden that breaks you. Ready? Let's plunge in. Hello again, my dear friends. We're still here, gathered close in this snug room, the fire roaring now, its flames leaping high as if they sense the gravity of what's coming. The wind outside wails like a mourner, rattling the panes, and I, Jeremiah Burroughs, or the spirit of that old pastor echoing through the ages, am back to lead you further into my book, the rare jewel of Christian contentment. We've walked a winding road together, we've tasted contentment's peace, marveled at its mystery, learned from Christ's steady hand, celebrated its excellence, and faced the chilling evils of a murmuring spirit. That grumbling voice, bitter, restless, steals the jewel we've come to love. But today, we're not stopping at its evils. We're stepping into part 2, murmuring, and specifically, aggravations of murmuring. This isn't just a warning, it's a thunderclap, a spotlight on how murmuring doesn't just harm, it heaps guilt, deepens wounds, and drags you lower than you'd ever imagine. I've got stories to spin, tales of souls weighed down, lives twisted by their own complaints, and truths that'll shake you to your core. So, pull that chair tight, let the fire's heat steal you. I'm taking you on a journey that'll grip your heart and maybe even save it from itself. Here we go. What do I mean by aggravations? It's this: murmuring isn't just evil, it's worse than you think. It's not a simple slip of the tongue or a fleeting frown, it's a sin that grows heavier, uglier, the more you let it fester. Every grumble adds a stone to your load, every mutter tightens the chains. It's bad enough to complain, but the aggravations, the things that make it worse, turn it into a monster that devours peace, faith, and joy. Let me peel this back, layer by layer, with stories that'll chill your bones and lessons that'll burn bright. First, murmuring is aggravated because it's against God's mercy. Think of all He's done: pulled you from the pit, given you breath, showered you with gifts you don't deserve. Yet when trouble comes, you grumble as if he's a stingy master, not a loving father. It's like spitting on a banquet he's laid out for you. I knew a carpenter named Edward in my parish, a man with strong hands and a quick temper. He'd built a good life, wife, kids, a sturdy shop until a flood swept through, ruining his tools. I found him hammering at a warped plank, his face dark. "Pastor," he growled, "God spared me before, why drown me now?" He's a tease. I froze. Here was a man who'd seen mercy, survived storms, yet now cursed the hand that saved him. That's the aggravation. Murmuring doesn't just rebel, it scorns the grace that's kept you alive. Let me weave another tale, heavier still. There was a merchant's daughter named Beatrice in my town, bright, lovely, her father's pride. They'd weathered lean years, always bounced back, God's hand clear in their rise. But a fire took their warehouse goods, gold, gone. I visited, expecting tears, but Beatrice met me with a sneer. "Pastor, we prayed, we've tithed, God owes us better. He's mocked us." Her voice cut like a blade, her eyes blind to the years of plenty, the family still whole. She grumbled as if mercy were a debt, not a gift. That's the aggravation, it turns God's kindness into a whipping post, making your sin twice as bitter. Next, murmuring is aggravated because it's often over small things. You'd think grumbling comes only with great loss, death, ruin, but no, it thrives on trifles, petty slights, making it all the uglier. It's like a king raging over a spilled cup when his kingdom stands. I saw this in a baker named Philip, not Alice's father, but another donator in my flock. His shop hummed, bread sold fast, but one day a customer griped about a burnt loaf. A trifle, yet Philip exploded. "Pastor," he fumed, "I slave over these ovens, and this? God's against me." He slammed his fist, red-faced, over a single crust, blind to the line still buying. That's the aggravation, murmuring over crumbs when the table's full heaps shame on your soul. Here's another sting of it, murmuring is aggravated because it's after God's promises. He's pledged to care for you, "I'll never leave you, all things work for good," yet you grumble as if he's a liar. It's not just doubt, it's defiance, spitting on his word. Think of the Israelites promised Canaan, fed by manna, yet whining for Egypt's leeks. I knew a fisherman's widow named Clara in my parish, her husband lost, but her net still caught enough to live. One lean week, the haul thinned, and she cornered me, voice sharp. "Pastor, God said he'd provide, where's my fish? He's broken his word." I ached. Here was a woman fed daily, yet cursing over a lighter net. That's the aggravation, murmuring after promises doubles the guilt, turns trust into treason. Let me tell you of Robert, a tailor from my flock, nimble fingers, steady trade. He'd seen God pull him through fevers, debts, yet one winter, a client stiffed him a shilling. A pittance, but Robert raged. "Pastor, God's promised me better, why this now? He's a fraud." His needle stabbed the cloth, his grumbling a storm over a coin, blind to years of provision. That's the evil made worse, it scorns the vow that holds you. Now, step into your world, because murmuring's aggravations aren't old tales, they're alive, snarling in your days. Your swamp jobs falter, screens taunt, life twists. Maybe you've growled, "Why's my Wi-Fi slow? Why's my raise late?" Trifles, yet they spark a fire. Lose a shift? You mutter, "God's forgotten me," scorning the mercy that woke you today. Scroll past a friend's new gig. You hiss, "I deserve that," trampling promises of care. That's the aggravation, it's not just evil, it's petty, ungrateful, a slap at God's face in your buzzing, breaking world. Take Emma, a woman from your time, a clerk I heard of. She'd climbed from nothing job, flat, a life stitched from scraps. But a promotion passed her by, and I met her at a bus stop, her voice ice. "Pastor, I prayed, God's cheated me." "Why her?" not me. She glared at the rain, blind to the roof she had, the years he'd lifted her. Her grumbling wasn't for starvation, it was for a title, a trifle, yet it soured her soul. That's the aggravation, murmuring over small stings when mercy's piled high makes it wretched. One more tale, because this cuts deep. There was a cobbler named Hugh in my town, old, hunched, his shoes a village staple. God had spared him plague, fed him through famines, but a storm broke his window glass, shattered, a cold draught. I found him sweeping, expecting grit, but his voice was venom. Pastor, I've served him, he owes me warmth. He's a trickster. His broom jabbed the floor, his grumbling a roar over a pain, not a life lost. That's the aggravation, it's after mercy, over trifles, against promises, piling sin on sin. So, what makes murmuring worse? It's aggravated by God's mercy you scorn, the smallness you curse, the promises you doubt. It's not just a thief, it's a traitor, a weight that sinks you deeper. In your world deadlines snap, screens mock, hope phrase it's a snare. Traffic jams. Don't grumble, breathe his air. Pay cut. Don't curse, claim his word. As this fire blazes, let it sear you. Edward's tools, Beatrice's gold, Philip's loaf, Clara's fish, Robert's coin, Emma's title, Hugh's glass, they cry out. Next time it stirs, why me? Silence it. Say, Lord, forgive my blindness. Thank you for facing this with me, Jeremiah Burroughs, by this wild hearth. More awaits, will you stay? I pray you do. Part 7, From Aggravations of Murmuring to the Excuses of a Murmuring Heart. So, what makes murmuring worse? It's aggravated by God's mercy you scorn, the smallness you curse, the promises you doubt. It's not just a thief, it's a traitor, a weight that sinks you deeper. In your world deadlines snap, screens mock, hope phrase it's a snare. Traffic jams. Don't grumble, breathe his air. Pay cut. Don't curse, claim his word. As this fire blazes, let it sear you. Edward's tools, Beatrice's gold, Philip's loaf, Clara's fish, Robert's coin, Emma's title, Hugh's glass, they cry out. Next time it stirs, why me? Silence it. Say, Lord, forgive my blindness. Thank you for facing this with me, Jeremiah Burroughs, by this wild hearth. But don't turn away yet, friends, because the story's twisting again. We've seen murmuring's evils, felt its aggravations pile high, but there's a slyer beast lurking, a voice that whispers back, defending itself, weaving excuses to keep its grip. So, keep the fire roaring and stay close, we're stepping into the excuses of a murmuring heart. This is where it gets cunning, where you'll see how grumbling hides behind a mask. Ready to peel it off? Let's dive in. Hello again, my dear friends. We're still here, gathered tight in this cozy room, the fire snapping and spitting now, its flames flickering like they're wrestling with the shadows. The wind outside moans a restless tune, tugging at the edges of the night, and I, Jeremiah Burroughs, or the echo of that old pastor from centuries past, am back to guide you deeper into my book, the rare jewel of Christian contentment. We've walked a rugged path together, we've tasted contentment's sweet peace, marveled at its mystery, learned from Christ's steady hand, celebrated its excellence, faced the dark evils of a murmuring spirit, and shuddered at how those evils grow heavier with every aggravation. Murmuring's a poison, a thief of joy, a rebel against God, a weight that crushes. But today, we're not stopping there. We're stepping into part 2, murmuring, and specifically, the excuses of a murmuring heart. This is where it gets tricky, where the grumbling soul doesn't just snarl, it slinks, making excuses, spinning lies to dodge the blame. I've got stories to unravel, tales of hearts tangled in their own defenses and truths that'll cut through the fog. So, settle in, let the fires glow steady you. I'm taking you on a journey that'll hook your soul and maybe even free it. Here we go. What are these excuses? They're the murmur's armor, the slick little lies we tell ourselves to justify our grumbling. It's not just, why me? It's, I've got a right to feel this way. The heart doesn't want to confess its sin, it wants to cloak it, dress it up as fair, even noble. But these excuses? They're flimsy threads, unraveling under God's light, and they only tighten murmuring's grip. Let me peel them back, one by one, with stories that'll sting and lessons that'll shine. First, the excuse, I'm only grumbling because my troubles are so great. The heart says, this isn't petty, my pain's too big to bear quietly. It's a shield who wouldn't complain in my shoes. But it's a lie that crumbles fast. I knew a blacksmith named Gideon in my parish, a giant of a man, his forge a heartbeat of the village. He'd weathered hard years, famine, sickness, but a rival stole his best client, slashing his trade. I found him pounding iron, sweat dripping, but his voice was a growl. Pastor, he said, this isn't some burnt loaf, I'm ruined. God's piled too much, I've earned this grumble. His hammer rang like thunder, but I saw his shelves still stocked, his family still fed. That's the excuse, it swells your trouble to excuse your tongue, blind to the mercy holding you up. Let me tell you of Margaret, a miller's wife, not the baker from before, but another soul in my flock. Her husband broke his leg, mill stopped, money dried, yet they'd survived worse. I visited, expecting resolve, but she met me with a scowl. Pastor, this isn't a trifle, he's crippled, we're done. Who'd stay silent? Her hands wrung her apron, her voice sharp, as if a broken bone erased years of God's care, harvests spared, children grown. That's the excuse, my burden's too heavy, when it's lighter than the grace you've known. Next, the excuse, I'm grumbling because I'm only human. The heart shrugs, it's natural, everyone does it. It's a dodge, I'm not a saint, what do you expect? But it's a hollow plea. Think of Christ, human, yet sinless, weary, yet trusting. I saw this in a fisherman named Peter, not the apostle or Simon, but a wiry man from my coast. A storm sank his boat, his living drowned, and I met him mending nets, expecting grit. But his voice was sour. Pastor, I'm flesh and blood, God can't ask me to smile through this. He yanked a knot tight, as if humanity excused his curse, not his faith. That's the excuse it hides behind, I'm weak, dodging the strength God gives. Here's another twist, the excuse, I'm grumbling because God hasn't answered me. The heart cries, I prayed, I've waited, silence justifies my complaint. It's a bold one, blaming God's timing for your rebellion. I knew a seamstress named Ellen in my town, quick with a needle, slow with trust. She'd prayed for her son's fever to break, but it lingered, and I found her stitching by his bed, her face stone. Pastor, she hissed, I begged God, he's deaf. I've a right to this. Her thread snapped, her grumbling a wall against the healing yet to come. That's the excuse, it turns God's patience into a fault, not a promise. Let me weave you one more, because this cuts close. There was a farmer named Nathaniel in my parish, broad, steady, his fields a testament to years of favor. A drought hit, not ruinous, but lean, and I trudged out, expecting patience. But he leaned on his plow, eyes hard. Pastor, I've served him, where's my rain? I'm no angel, sure, but this silence? I'll grumble till he hears. His voice rumbled like distant thunder, as if God's delay greenlit his growl. That's the excuse, he's not answering, when he's already given breath, land, hope. Now, step into your world, because these excuses echo loud in your chaos. Jobs teeter, screens flash, life bends. Maybe you've muttered, my boss cut my hours, it's too much. I'm human, cut me slack. I've prayed for a break, nothing. I've heard your kind grumbling at a late bus, a lost gig, a silent sky. It feels fair, who wouldn't? But it's a snare. Fired? You say, this is huge, I can't help it, blind to the day still yours. Stressed. I'm not perfect. Dodging his strength. Waiting. God's ignored me. Missing the mercy piling up. That's the excuse, it's a mask, crumbling under truth. Take Laura, a woman from your time, a teacher I heard of. She'd built a career, kids thriving, but a school slashed her class pay dwindled. I met her grading papers, expecting resolve, but her pen stabbed the page. Pastor, this isn't small, I'm stretched thin. I'm human, God's late. I've earned this rant. Her voice cracked, blind to students still learning, a roof still standing. Her excuses stacked, too big, too weak, too quiet, a wall against grace. That's the aggravation made sly, it justifies what it should repent. One more tale, because this bites deep. There was a cobbler's widow named Grace in my flock, frail, faithful, her husband's shop her lifeline. A storm flooded it, boots soaked, coins lost, and I slogged through mud to her door, expecting tears. But her voice was steel. Pastor, this is unbearable, I'm only flesh. I prayed, God's mute. I'll grumble if I want. She swept water, her muttering a tide, as if loss, humanity, silence excused her scorn. That's the excuse, it's a lie that binds, not frees. So, what are these excuses? My troubles are great, yet mercy's greater. I'm only human, yet strength's offered. God hasn't answered, yet he's never left. They're the murmuring heart's tricks, flimsy, frail, falling before God's truth. In your world deadlines choke, screens taunt, prayers wait, there a siren's call. Job slips? Don't excuse, trust. Tired? Don't dodge, lean. Silent? Don't curse, wait. As this fire roars, let it purge you. Gideon's iron, Margaret's mill, Peter's nets, Ellen's thread, Nathaniel's plow, Laura's chalk, Grace's flood, they plead. Next time it whispers, I've a right. Strike it down. Say, Lord, break my excuses. Thank you for wrestling this with me, Jeremiah Burroughs, by this fierce hearth. More's ahead, will you stay? I pray you will. The end, from the excuses of a murmuring heart to how to attain contentment. So, what are these excuses? My troubles are great, yet mercy's greater. I'm only human, yet strength's offered. God hasn't answered, yet he's never left. They're the murmuring heart's tricks, flimsy, frail, falling before God's truth. In your world deadlines choke, screens taunt, prayers wait, there a siren's call. Job slips? Don't excuse, trust. Tired? Don't dodge, lean. Silent? Don't curse, wait. As this fire roars, let it purge you. Gideon's iron, Margaret's mill, Peter's nets, Ellen's thread, Nathaniel's plow, Laura's chalk, Grace's flood, they plead. Next time it whispers, I've a right. Strike it down. Say, Lord, break my excuses. Thank you for wrestling this with me, Jeremiah Burroughs, by this fierce hearth. But hold on, friends, because we're not ending in the shadows. We've walked through contentment's beauty, faced its enemies, and now, we're stepping into the light. This is our grand finale, part 3, Applications and Conclusion, How to Attain Contentment. This is where it all comes together, where you'll learn to grab this jewel and make it yours. So, stoke that fire one last time, because this is going to be a ride you won't forget, a call to rise, to claim peace, and maybe even change your life. Ready? Let's soar. Hello again, my dear friends. We're still here, gathered close in this cozy room, the fire blazing brighter than ever now, its flames leaping like they're celebrating what's ahead. The wind outside has softened, humming a gentle tune as if it knows the storm's past, and I, Jeremiah Burroughs, or the spirit of that old pastor who's walked this path with you, am back to bring my book, the rare jewel of Christian contentment, to its shining close. We've traveled far together, we've tasted the sweet peace of contentment, unraveled its mystery, learned from Christ's steady hand, marveled at its excellence, shuddered at the evils of murmuring, wrestled with its aggravations, and torn through the excuses that defend it. We've seen the darkness grumbling casts how it blinds, rebels, and weighs us down, but today, we're turning the page. We're stepping into part 3, Applications and Conclusion, How to Attain Contentment. This isn't just a wrap-up, it's a battle cry, a roadmap, a promise that this rare jewel isn't out of reach. It's yours to hold, to live, to shine with. I've got stories to share, tales of souls who've claimed it, and practical steps that'll light your way. So, settle in, let the fire's warmth lift you. I'm taking you on a journey that'll stir your heart, spark your soul, and leave you hungry for more. Here we go. How do you attain contentment? It's not a magic trick or a distant dream, it's a path you walk, a gift you seize, with Christ as your guide and your heart as the battlefield. Murmurings tried to bury it, excuses have tried to block it, but contentment's stronger, brighter, waiting for you to claim it. Let me show you how, step by step, with stories that'll stick and truths that'll sing. First, attain contentment by fixing your eyes on God's goodness. Don't let the storm blind you. Look up, count the gifts He's poured out, and let gratitude drown the grumble. It's like a sailor lost at sea spotting the lighthouse. Focus there, and the waves lose their roar. I knew a farmer named Samuel, not the apprentice, but a gray-haired man of the soil. A blight took half his crop, a blow that had felled others, but I found him in his barn, stacking what remained, his voice steady. "Pastor," he said, "God's given me sun, rain, this land half's more than none. I'll praise Him for it." His hands moved slow, sure, his eyes on the giver, not the gap. That's the key. See His goodness, and contentment grows. Next, attain contentment by trusting God's providence. Life's not random, every thread's in His hands, weaving something you can't yet see. Stop fighting, start resting. Think of Joseph, sold, jailed, forgotten, yet saying, "God meant it for good." I saw this in a widow named Hannah in my flock, not the weaver, but a quiet soul with a spinning wheel. Her son sailed off, promising coin, but his ship vanished, lost at sea. I visited, expecting despair, but she spun wool, her face calm. "Pastor," she said, "God's taken him, but He's got a plan. I'll trust till I see it." Her wheel hummed, a song of faith. That's the step. Trust His hand, and peace takes root. Here's another, attain contentment by humbling yourself before God. Pride grumbles, "I deserve better." But humility bows, "I'm yours." It's like a child in a father's arms, safe, not striving. I knew a merchant named Thomas, not the sailor, but a man of cloth and coin. A rival sank his trade, left him scraping, and I met him folding remnants, expecting rage. But he smiled faintly. "Pastor, I thought I ruled my world. God's shown me I don't. I'm His, and that's enough." His hands trembled, but his heart knelt. That's the way. Humble yourself, and contentment crowns you. Now, attain contentment by praying for it. Don't just wish, ask, seek, knock. God's not stingy, He gives peace to those who cry for it. Philippians says, "With prayer and thanksgiving, let your requests be known, and peace will guard your heart." I saw this in a baker named Ruth, not the seamstress, but a dough-kneader with a warm laugh. A fire took her oven, her livelihood charred, but I found her kneading by hand, praying aloud. "Pastor," she said, "I begged God for peace, and He's given it. I'll bake again." Her voice rose, a hymn of trust. That's the move. Pray, and contentment flows. One more, because this is gold, attain contentment by resting in Christ's sufficiency. He's enough, more than enough, your rock when all else shakes. He said, "My grace is sufficient," and He meant it. I knew a fisherman named John, not the blacksmith, but a net caster from my shore. A storm smashed his boat, his trade sunk, but I met him mending a spare, his eyes bright. "Pastor, Christ fed thousands with scraps. He's all I need. I'll fish again. His hands danced over the net, his soul anchored. That's the clincher, rest in him, and contentment's yours. Let's bring this home to your world, because I know it's a wild ride. Jobs vanish, screens dazzle, dreams fade. You're juggling bills, stress, a life that won't slow. Maybe you've lost big, a gig, a goal, or maybe it's small, a late train, a broken phone. But here's how you grab contentment right now. Boss cuts your hours. Look up, God's given me today. Rent spikes. Trust he's weaving this. Ego stings. Bow, I'm his. Feeling lost? Pray, Lord, steady me. Overwhelmed? Rest, Christ's enough. This isn't theory, it's your lifeline, your victory. Take Sarah, a woman from your time, a nurse I heard of. She'd worked through chaos, sick kids, long nights, then a layoff hit, her savings gone. I met her at a park, kids playing, her sipping tea. Pastor, she said, I've counted his gifts, my breath, my family. I've trusted his plan, new doors will open. I've humbled myself, he's in charge. I prayed and peace came. Christ's all I need. Her smile glowed, a beacon. That's how she claimed it, step by step. One last tale, because this is your spark. There was a cobbler named Daniel, not the flood survivor, but a quiet man with worn hands. A thief stole his stock boots, leather, gone, and I found him carving a soul, his voice soft. Pastor, God's good, I've got wood. He's got a purpose, I'll wait. I'm his, I don't need more. I prayed, he's here. Christ's enough, I'll mend. His knife sang, his soul soared. That's how he held contentment tight. So, how do you attain it? See his goodness, count it. Trust his providence, lean in. Humble yourself, bow low. Pray for it, cry out. Rest in Christ, anchor deep. In your world deadlines crush, screens scream, hope flickers, this is your map. Job gone? He's good. Bills rise. He's weaving. Pride bites? I'm his. Heartaches? Lord, help. Life shakes? Christ's enough. This is your jewel, your crown, grab it. As this fire blazes its last, let it ignite you. Contentment's yours, Samuel's barn, Hannah's will, Thomas's cloth, Ruth's dough, John's nets, Sarah's tea, Daniel's soul, prove it. Next time life hits, boss snaps, screen glares, soul sags, rise up. Say, Lord, make me content. This isn't the end, it's your beginning. Thank you for this journey with me, Jeremiah Burroughs, by this blazing hearth. Hit that subscribe button, join me for more, because we're just getting started. Share this, follow along, let's chase this jewel together. Will you stay? I know you will.